On a recent episode of Top Gear, the very popular British sports car programme, or cars in general, we had Anthony Joshua give his top 3 heavyweights of all time, presumably delivered in the order of 1 to 3. And we started off with Jack Johnson, the first ever black heavyweight champion of the world, champion from 1908 to 1915. Then we had Muhammad Ali, and then we had Mike Tyson. There were some kind of eyebrow-raising kind of errors with what he was saying, though. He kind of said that with Johnson, the title was eventually kind of politically wrestled away from him, eventually, he said, because he was beating everyone. Of course, that isn't exactly true. He was beaten in the ring by the giant Jess Willard in Cuba 1915 in the 26th round after a really good straight right hand. So, yes, he was avoided a lot earlier on, Jack Johnson, but during his reign, of course, whether you want to use the word duck or not, that's another video. But you had, of course, Sam Langford and Joe Jeanette, and they weren't given shots when they very much deserved another crack at the title when they were more developed. Muhammad Ali, of course, yes, he referenced how he stood up against not wanting to get drafted into the Vietnam War and all of that. But the way he phrased it, he almost kind of made it sound that like Muhammad Ali went into boxing to give himself a platform to then speak politically, which isn't true. It just so happened that he happened to do that after becoming a famous boxer. The reason the greatest took up boxing was because his bike got stolen one time, and then a police officer directed him to the nearest gym. So again, the way he kind of changed that, paraphrased it, it was a bit inaccurate. And then with Tyson, I think he just kind of referenced personal struggle and strife and then being moulded into a different person. But Tyson isn't normally rated as high as a 3. It depends. I certainly have seen worst top 3s. Johnson's an interesting pick. Historically, yeah, very significant. But Joshua has done a top 5 before on an IFL interview quite a few years ago, I think before he even got the IBF off Charles Martin. And the one big omission in both of these is no Joe Louis, no Brown Bomber. Of course, a lot of people just have it pretty much either Ali Lewis, Lewis or Ali in terms of 1 and 2. They're pretty much interchangeable. They've got both massive legacies. And of course, in terms of what he did for the black athlete, he might not be as eye-catching as someone like a Johnson or Muhammad Ali because he wasn't as outspoken, but Joe Louis did a ton for black athletes, so Joshua should probably read up more a bit on the old Brown Bomber. But I've seen worse lists, certainly. I just find it it's always interesting to listen to current champs and current fighters, but I always question whenever they claim to be any kind of historian because they end up making some massive errors historically. But interesting nonetheless. I wish everybody a very happy new year.